Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Well, let's say goodbye to April. This is the last day of the fourth month. Heading now into month number 5, May. And, God, apparently some stuff's going to start opening up around here in a few days. And I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, even something as seemingly inconsequential as a dog walking service, which I did use so that my dog had a chance to be around other dogs and have a nice outing while I was doing my show. But I don't know. It's weird because we don't know so much, right? Oh well, those are my issues. The most extraordinary story I came upon since last we spoke is this, the story from Arizona of the husband and wife downing some chloroquine phosphate is actually what they did. Whatever the cleaner for their fish tank. After, of course, our genius president had suggested that this drug, malaria drug, could in fact cure COVID-19. So we all know the story, and the guy died. She was hospitalized, I guess, but came out okay. Well, it turns out that the police in Mesa City, Arizona, where this occurred, are treating this like a homicide. Now, they say that any unconfirmed death is often, subjected to this kind of an investigation. But the cops are being closed mouth, but this one detective said this is an active investigation. I cannot go into any details. Blah, 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 blah. However, a reporter for the Free Beacon has been doggedly looking into the case and interviewing people who knew the guy and the woman. His name was Gary Lennius. He was 68 years old. His wife, Wanda, is 61. People who knew him, say there's no way this guy was stupid enough to believe that. They describe him as a level-headed, retired engineer. They also say that the wife, Wanda, was a pro-science Democratic donor. So here's one guy who used to design systems with now the deceased. What bothers me about all this is that Gary was a very intelligent man. I mean, a retired mechanical engineer. And I really can't see the scenario where Gary would say, yeah, please, I would love to drink some of that koi fish tank cleaner. It just doesn't make sense. Then it turns out that Wanda, the wife, was not nice to her husband, even in public, and it embarrassed friends often, felt embarrassed for him, but he seemingly loved her and would let it go. She also was accused of physically assaulting him, and that made it to the police department. So what the reporter has found is that this is a marriage that was troubled, that both of these two are not Trumpers. They did not support Trump. They wouldn't have listened to this. She is the only one left to tell the story. And her story had been that she and her husband had watched the president, talk about how wondrous this chloroquine was. And she remembered all of a sudden purchasing a container that contained it to clean a fish tank. Now, I got to tell you right there, I find that suspect. It's a powder. It is lethal as heck if ingested. She did tell the police, we weren't big supporters of Trump, and I guess we just made a horrible, tragic mistake. She also said that her husband had been planning a doctor's appointment to have a leg injury looked at, and they were afraid to go because they didn't want to, needlessly subject themselves to potentially picking up the virus. And she said that's when she reached for the fish tank cleaner, and she said her husband said, "Is it still good?" And she said, yeah. She also routinely prepared a so-called vitamin cocktail for her husband, according to a friend. And she had said that she and her husband had not talked specifically about taking the chloroquine. She says, no, it was really kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing. A teaspoon, some soda, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, whatever. The fact is this is an open investigation into a possible murder of a husband by a wife. Okay? A very devious wife. I mean, can you imagine? Who saw the president's remarks as a way to do in her husband while also suggesting that he was an idiot. Wow. But she was willing to make herself look like an idiot too. I don't know. Anyway, just want you to know. Headline, police investigating death of Arizona man from chloroquine phosphate. And, who knows? While, changing the subject, while we here are mourning the loss of much of the things that we might have previously taken for granted, like the original hot dog shop in Oakland, the Dirty O. Turns out the Dirty O is so iconic that the Wall Street Journal did a big piece on it closing down. Who knew? And it's really, as I read the piece, I wasn't really mourning, though. I hadn't been in the O in a million years. A million, easily. But on reading the piece, it was hard not to to start missing it, really. Oh, now you're not going to let me read this? You're kidding, jerks. Sorry, I thought I was going to be able to share this with you, but now all of a sudden and I do belong to the Wall Street Journal, so why aren't you letting me in? I'll tell you why they're not letting me in, because I never know how to sign in. I never recall every time I hit these things, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and I'm reading along, and then they cut you off and say, are you a subscriber? And I think, yeah. But I can never prove it because I don't recall ever passwords that I put. I have not a clue. So sorry, I'm not going to get to share that with you, which was really delightful. And it really talked a lot about the filth. It didn't get the name Dirty O for no reason in particular. This is one of those places where, your shoes stuck to the floor. And that was the charm, I guess, for a lot of people. It's so funny now that we're also hyper-conscious about germs and cleanliness, that the O in part was iconic by virtue of being this filthy place. They mentioned a review of it written, I forget when, but by some newspaper, that said that it had appeared the bathrooms, the public bathroom there, had not been cleaned since the 1960s. Jeez. So anyway, just saying. I got a call last evening from Joanne Rogers, who is, stuck in her condo in Oakland, like so many of the rest of us, but she sounded chipper and great. But she was calling because she was so excited. She had just found out, been talking to the actress who played her in the Tom Hanks movie. And she said, she said she really adored this woman. She got to know her and really liked her. And she's mostly it's not an actress whose name we know. And she, what am I trying to say here? Oh, she's mostly a theater actor, and does a lot of work in New York theater work. And she had told Joanne about this New York Public Theater production that she and her husband, also an actor, and some other actors had been doing over the years. And it was called What Do We Need to Talk About, or The Apple Family, as in the fruit, the Apple Family. And this is something that goes way back. It's little plays about this family, the Apples. And the first play was back in, was 10 years ago, I guess. And then there have been plays since. And they decided to do a new one for these times. And obviously, instead of being on stage, I think it's at Lincoln, isn't it the Lincoln Theater, where the public does its stuff? Obviously, you can't do that. So they were doing it online, on YouTube, and Joanne said, you'll want to see this. It's at 7:30 last night. And so I made a point of watching this live, maybe, theater that had all of the actors in different places on Zoom. And they did it by being that family, that the Apple family that they had played before, and the Apple family now. And it was really, wonderful. Wonderful seeing this play that seemed so real by virtue of the fact that it was current. We could identify with certainly a family talking to each other on those, all stuck in their little boxes. And obviously, in order, the playwright, knowing he had to deal with all of them being in different little boxes, had to, well, he didn't have to, but two of the actors are married. So they would be, even though you wouldn't expect them to be in the same house, because they play a brother and sister, but they're really husband and wife. You still have me here? And that is the woman who played Joanne in the movie. Anyway, it was fantastic. Her name is Mary Ann Plunkett. And man, these actors were so friggin' good. And I just want to say, I got a feeling that might be available, not in real time now, but to get it, if you go to publictheater.org/apples and treat yourself to about, I think it's about an hour. And it was something. It really was. The theater has been art in general, artists, theater, especially because it's meant to be done live with a lot of people sitting or standing or whatever, but being together. And the creativity that was evidenced in this piece was wonderful. And because it's a very New York set piece, the Apple family, one of the characters, had a job with Cuomo. And he says some very, sort of offhanded things about Cuomo. So it's up to date. Talks about him now being the hero. Who knew? Who knew that this terror I worked for would turn out to be, everybody's idea of a wonderful human being? So it was able to be totally current in a way that theater often, is not. But I just thought it was wonderful. So check it out. This was a benefit production. It's 70 minutes. I just saw that. Wow. There's so much talent in this world. There's so much talent. And when people of talent are unable to have their usual outlets, necessity is the mother of invention, I guess. They find a way. And it was delightful. So I was so happy Joanne told me about it, and I'm passing it on to you because I think maybe you can still enjoy it as I did. Little Tony says about the O, why can't somebody buy it? Well, I don't know. It's been in the same family forever. It was two brothers, the Stearns. I don't know. Little Tony says the O was a place that I thought would always be there. Yeah, but Tony, when's the last time you actually went? It was sort of, I swear, I don't think I've been in that place more than twice in the 40-some years I've been in Pittsburgh. It's also, the other iconic restaurant in Pittsburgh is obviously Primanti's, and I have long been I've never thought Primanti's was any good. I mean, I don't even understand why people think that their food is good. It's beyond me. I find it awful. horrible. Yuck. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm embarrassed every time, some national or international, event happens, and man, they're looking for side-by stories, or this is Pittsburgh stories, and man, they always have to go to Primanti's. Yeah, don't get it. I got the O more than I got Primanti's, but it's just like a dangerous delight in many ways. The O. I mean, it's not exactly food that's good for you. One of the reasons their fries were so damn good is they fried them twice. I guess they went around in peanut oil, and then again. I mean, this is not good stuff for your body, I suspect. We have a call. Probably a Primanti supporter. Hello.
Hey, Lynn, it's Mike in D.C. No French fry order.
Hi, Mike.
So you were making recommendations for stuff to watch, and I am talking about the creativity of actors. There's a show on YouTube for free called, I'm looking at it now, called Take Me to the World, a Sondheim 90th Birthday Celebration. And I think it's put on by Broadway.com. And they have 40 actors alone individually in each of their living rooms singing a song. Some of them are like three-way sing-alongs, which I'm not sure how they did that. But it was so touching and so sweet. And the talent, I mean, literally, just sitting there with the pink, 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 belting it out like they were on The Great White Way. It's unbelievable.
So tell me again what it's called. Take Me to the
World.
Yeah.
Which is a tune from one of his lesser-known shows, a Sondheim 90th Birthday Celebration.
Okay, a Sondheim. I've heard of that. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Meryl Streep, Andrew McDonald, and Christine Baranski do like a trio of Here's to the Ladies Who Lunch. It isn't the best part of the show, but it's interesting. And
so this
Randy
is
Rainbow does a song.
This is all Sondheim songs then?
Yeah, it's to celebrate his 90th birthday.
Jeez.
Bad time to turn 90.
Oh, wow, not
I hope they have him quarantined. I hope he is so quarantined. Not that he's writing anymore, but yeah, he's truly up there in the greatest things America has ever produced. His music is just amazing, and some of all the people singing, not all of the people singing are people we know.
Sure.
I was Googling frantically, who is this woman?
Yeah.
Who is that man?
Well, because they're stage actors. You don't necessarily. I mean, how many of us are able to take in New York stage work? First of all, it's so damn expensive.
Right.
And the last time I was in a Broadway theater, the thing that blew me away is some of those theaters are so old, and the seats were made for people who were not as big as us. And so you can barely fit in the seat. There's not enough leg room. You are packed in, just packed in. And it's funny how little, what little space is allotted to each person for the hundreds and hundreds of dollars that they have to put down for a ticket.
Yeah, I was used to the Benedum and Heinz Hall. So when I went to my first Broadway show, I was like, what is this little dumpy place?
I know.
Shocked.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's shocking. I know.
Yeah.
It's just some of those theaters are like, what? I mean, they're there from the 30s, I guess, 20s, 30s, 40s, when, people didn't eat things like Primanti sandwiches and hot dogs and French fries and get fat, and also get.
But the
taller.
good thing is, for me, it's the height. My knees are always touching the chair in front of me.
Exactly.
But it really does make it seem more intimate, and that's what's great about the public theater is that you're not a mile away; they're really close to you. Can I tell a funny story about what happened in Annie on Broadway?
Sure.
Bill and the dog, Sandy, are downstage center in the middle of the stage singing Tomorrow, Tomorrow. And the dog leaves her and goes to the apron and starts sniffing in the audience. So the little girl grabs Sandy and brings it back to his spot and tells him to stay as she's singing, right? And then the dog again leaves her and starts sniffing out in the audience. So anyway, the number's over, and the house crew goes to see what was in the house. There was someone in the third row with a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken. And that dog didn't care how well it was trained.
No.
It wanted that Kentucky Fried Chicken.
How do you get into a Broadway theater with a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken? And that would be smelling up the whole area, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and that's another thing about is the informality of the people that go to shows. It's like they just they mowed their lawn and then they run to the theater. It's like, have a little respect.
Yeah.
But
indeed.
I'm an old man, so.
Yes, you're an old, fussy, old, curmudgeonly old man.
Who knows how to tie a bow tie, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's always great to hear from you. Thank
Have a good
you.
weekend.
Thank you. And I'm going to definitely check that out.
Yeah, it brought tears to my eyes a couple of times, actually.
Okay, I will check that out. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Little Tony has responded to my, when was the last time you were there? He said, I was there last year, which is only 4 months ago. So there. And Keith says, Lynn, this might get me banned from the city, but I graduated from Pitt and never once ate at the O. They gave you a diploma? Never once ate at the O or had an interest. Yeah. And now he regrets. He says, and now I wish I had. The one thing I find sad is how Oakland is being stripped of its character. The O's gone. C.J. Barney's, the Attic, a lot of the bars we went to are gone. There was a grittiness that's vanishing, and it's being replaced with that same corporate nonsense everyone else has. That's what happens. That's called progress, Keith. It's called progress. You take something that is unique, individual, ground up, that the people made, and then you bring in the bean counters and the money crunchers and money grabbers, and they make it look like every place, right? You should have gone. Milton says, Lynn, in the decades I have listened to you, the statement you just made about the culinary disaster that is Primanti's is that I didn't know where that was. I thought you were folks make that the first place they take first-time visitors to our great city has always been disheartening to me. Oh, my God, yes. It's awful. I think there's this thing that you have to like it, and so people tell themselves they like it. How could you like it? Okay, granted, maybe I've had one. I had one sandwich. I thought it was horrible. There was no flavor. I didn't like those French fries stuck on the sandwich. The French fries weren't even any good. And, the one time I did taste one, I was doing a bit for WTAE television. I was doing one of my Lynn Cullen on the job things where I was a short order cook at Primanti's in the Strip. And I'd never even been in it before, and there I was, and I'm behind the counter, and I'm, the orders are coming fast and furious, and I'm obviously totally incapable of. I was impressed by the short order cooks there. I mean, how any short order cook, how the hell you keep all that in your head is beyond me. They got 20 million different things going on, and nothing gets burnt, and nothing is anyway. So that, and then I obviously ate for the first time one of their sandwiches, and I remember thinking, ugh, yeah. Now maybe there's a sandwich there I would like, but geez, God. Paul writes, I'm with you, Lynn. I miss places like Poli's and Bagel Nosh and Squirrel Hill, or more than I will miss the O. On another note, I reached my local state store on the phone at 9:04 this morning and was back home with my curbside pickup by 9:20. Jeez. I think 6 half gallons should last me a while. If not, I'll be listening to you from a detox center in the future. Jesus. So you call them up and man, they had the order ready that fast? Maybe I'll try that. I've totally given up on them. David writes, back in the day, I remember getting food poisoning at the O at least twice. Well, that gives you some cred. It's one thing to say, yeah, I ate at the O. It's another thing to be able to say, I was poisoned by the O twice, and I kept going back. That's not a Johnny-come-lately jump on the bandwagon sort of a guy. Oh, dear. So going through my Twitter stuff yesterday, I saw somebody posted, the White House gift shop is selling coronavirus commemorative coins for $125, although they're on sale right now for $100. This is not a joke. And then there was a link to the White House gift shop. And I thought, White House gift shop? Where the hell is the White House gift shop? I mean, there is one. And I'm on the website now, the White House gift shop. And the website has the White House there. And, deal of the day, the COVID-19 world virus, it says, and it has a picture of the virus, which is sort of pretty. You know, it's that red thing with the little yellow spikies coming out of it, and it's superimposed over a map. And it says, together we fought the unseen enemy. Everyday citizens did their part. Everyday heroes suited up. And then there's another coin you can get, the COVID-19 Task Force coin, that has the president's name and shows the podium from which he has given all of us such incredible life-saving advice. And I scrolled down thinking, because somewhere it said that this was part of the Everyday Heroes coin collection that they have. And I thought, well, what the hell other kind of coin? The Historic Moments coin collection, that's what it is. And I saw that the first three were of the Korean peace talks, so that goes back a bit to the 50s, and the summit in Singapore, which I don't have a clue, and then nothing clearly until Trump. Number 4, the United States Space Force coin. Number 5, your commemorative coin that shows Trump and his summit with Vladimir Putin. Number 6, Christmas greetings from Donald Trump and the First Lady. And it says here it is the most intricate and elegant design in the entire collection. And here's the one that blew me away. Number 7, its title, this commemorative coin title is Genius Makes Its Own Rules. And it shows President Donald J. Trump. And under him it says, a study in genius. So I thought, okay, this can't. And then on more, this story gets very complicated because it turns out that the White House gift shop is not in the White House. The White House gift shop is somewhere in Pennsylvania. And although initially it had its beginnings in the Truman administration and was overseen by the Secret Service or something, all that changed a long time ago. And so this is now a for-profit business. Why the hell they're allowed to use the White House on their, and clearly it's a Trump, they're doing nothing but these Trump memorabilia. They got it all, man. They got blankets. They got crystal. They got, it says here they have Democrat gifts. Sure. When I saw that you could buy now a COVID-19 commemorative coin, I thought that in a nutshell is, to me, that there it is, American capitalism, that there is nothing that can't be used to line someone's pockets, or there is nothing that somebody won't be willing to buy. Margaret tells me, go to Primanti's when you're stoned. Well, yeah, but, I always had, if I ever had anyone for dinner, I'd always try to get them stoned before I fed them because that way, they'd think my cooking was good. Gigi's writing, you can also have select beverages delivered from Wiggle Whiskey. That's that nice local distillery in the Strip. I had some tasty bourbon delivered. It only took a couple of days. Gives new meaning to shop local. Yeah, I'm purely a wino myself, so I can't, but I don't know. So this is a show going, it's going nowhere fast. So I just want to share a poor Bree in Malaysia is freaking out by the news from his home country. He said, on what planet, he said, and he's referring to a news story from yesterday. On what planet, he said, I thought this was an Onion story. Well, the thing is now, is the Onion still even, I know it's in business, but how? How can the Onion not have gone down the tubes when Trump was elected? Because all the Onion-like headlines are now the normal headlines. So here's the headline that did it to Bree. The headline is Kushner calls the coronavirus response a great success story. He was going on and on and on and on. I mean, he could not. Let me find the full quote if I can. How do you? Well, I guess when you lie, every time you open your mouth, I guess you can just stare straight at the camera and say things like, I think that we've achieved all the different milestones that are needed. Wonder what he's talking about. 1 million 1 million cases, which is an undercount. More dead than the Vietnam War, which is also an undercount. Here's Kushner. I think that we've achieved all the different milestones that are needed. So the government, federal government, rose to the challenge. And this is a great success story. I think that's really what needs to be told. And he went on to say that by July, this country is going to really be rocking again. Oh, my God. Hey, did you see that, I'm sorry, there's somebody, I hate those things. Leaf blowers. Somebody's doing one next door, and it's like it's here in my living room. Oh, wait, I have the door open. Hang on. I can't hear myself think. I hate those things. I hate those things. Shut up. You ever hear of a rake? God damn it. Here, wait a minute. Oh, the dog went out. Come on in, Blue. Blue, come on. God damn it. Sorry, guys. Okay. Now the dog wants to come in. Excuse me. Come, Blue, I'm not leaving this open. Come on in. Come on. Come in. Thank you. Okay, sorry. Forgive me. So, yeah. You know, what's scarier than being in a deadly pandemic? Well, being in a deadly pandemic with these idiots, these self-interested, clueless idiots at the helm. That's what's scarier. Man, jeez. Oy. So, there you have it. Hang on, guys. I'm sorry. I am discombobulated today. I hate to go here, but this is the other thing that I had sort of put down on my list of potential things to talk about today. And both of them are problematic, in that they don't make you feel good. One is the threatened third party candidacy of the former Republican congressman from Michigan, Justin, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Amash, or Amash, whatever. And I don't know, who knows, this coming election being unlike any other, and understandably, if it's a total rout, we would not be surprised, I suspect. On the other hand, that's what we were thinking would happen 3.5 years ago. And so anybody who thinks they know what's going to happen is out of their mind. So I don't know the impact, but I wish he wasn't, is all I want to say. It well could hurt Trump, but my suspicion is it would allow people who want to express their displeasure at Trump, it would allow them a way of doing that without voting for Biden. And I don't know. I don't know. The latest numbers, the polling, is apparently driving Trump crazy. We all know now and we know it's true because he tweeted this morning that it's fake news, that he went berserk and blew up at his campaign manager yesterday because his campaign manager wanted to tell him how their own polling, Republican polling, his campaign's polling, shows him in big trouble. And he went berserk. So this is what we hear over and over and over again about working in this White House. No one is willing to tell him anything he doesn't want to hear. No one is willing to tell him the truth if he doesn't want to hear it. He'll simply refuse to believe it, and he will blame the messenger. So bad poll numbers have nothing to do with his performance. They're bad numbers because the people that are gathering the information must be messing up. Now, the extent to which this man cannot accept any criticism, any view of himself other than that he is simply exemplary, that he is, no one's ever touched, the very stable genius. This is the mark of a person who's got a mental disorder. Serious mental disorder. It's why they really probably downplayed the virus when they were trying to wake him up to the fact that it was, Mr. President, this is probably it's coming this way. Ain't no way we can stay. And because he will not take in information that he finds troublesome. Just won't do it. So it can't be true. So it's fake news. In a leader in perilous times, that is not just a character flaw. That is something that's going to kill and is killing thousands of people. Incredible. Speaking of killing thousands of people, a New York Times map that looks at coronavirus cases and deaths across the United States and shows county death rates shows that Beaver County, which I was talking about yesterday, because they have, more than, I can't even remember now. It's, 57 deaths at just one nursing facility there. The map shows that Beaver County's death rate, the number of deaths per 100,000 people, is the highest of any county in the Commonwealth. So for their population, that is the worst place to be. Their death rate in Beaver County is 35 deaths per 100,000 people. And I'm not sure what the Allegheny death rate is, but it's nowhere near that. So even if all of those deaths are concentrated literally in one building, that death rate will keep Beaver County from being able to reopen, from meeting the measurements necessary to be one of the first counties perhaps to be able to start relaxing certain restrictions. And yet, in fact, the rest of Beaver County might be, I don't know. It shows how iffy these kinds of measurements are, and then we're basing decisions on whether to open certain businesses or relax certain rules on these numbers that might need closer scrutiny to get a real sense of what they're telling us in every specific case. Gosh, I don't know. So that's scary. Chris says, I love Blue. I do too. Such a sweet character. Such a sweet character. I'm very lucky. I think I have a caller. Of course, I might not, but I think I do. Hello?
Good morning, Lynn. Yes, you do.
Okay.
John here.
Hello?
Hey, so the only thing I'm going to say as regards the administration, because I really want to talk about Pittsburgh restaurants that are no longer there that I'm nostalgic for, is that if any family member looked as absurd in terms of their grooming and attire as Donald Trump does,
yeah, you would think
you would take them aside and try to
help them,
speak with them, and let them know how they're being perceived, or if they wouldn't listen, you would suspect they're developing some sort of psychological disorder.
Yeah.
He looks ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if have you treated yourself to the pictures, the close-ups of his, of his eyes and the pupils that look like, black holes.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind now. He's on Adderall. His pupils were the size of saucer plates. If you look at a picture of him standing from the side, it becomes completely obvious he's wearing lifts in his shoes. He has to stand at an angle. I mean, what?
Why would he wear lifts? He's a tall man. He's a tall man.
He's tall, but not tall enough in his mind, and he's lost some height due to aging. So he has to make up for it. And he has to. And the other reason he stands at an angle and is thrown off a bit is he's wearing a girdle. Mm-hmm. When he wears a suit, he wears a girdle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just absurd. But he has no self-awareness, which is why he's willing to sling insults at other people's appearance.
No, because he's perfect. He looks in the mirror, and I think he sees this handsome, extraordinary man.
Correct.
Jesus.
Textbook narcissist, yeah.
I don't know why they don't even tell him. I mean, if he applies his own makeup, because clearly he's wearing makeup all the time. That orange stuff is not his. Yeah, the orange stuff is something he's putting on because you can see how. Yeah. It doesn't unless he's tanning, putting goggles on. Which makes his eyes white around with goggles and everything else is. I have not a clue.
No, that's orange goop because he looks like a mess. But again, I can't go on with that. So there are so many places I am nostalgic for. I'm going to agree with you about something. I loved the for nostalgia purposes. But the last time I was there. Was when I met an old. It was likely about 16 years ago when I met an old friend that I used to hang out with in Pittsburgh in our 20s when going to the O used to be something we did every week every weekend.
And it didn't rise when you went. It wasn't what you remembered.
Oh no! I mean, I think it was exactly what I remembered. That was the problem. Maybe.
Oh, you've outgrown it.
Adapt to the times, though. I remember Galiftes. I loved Galiftes. If you're in your neighborhood, Squirrel Hill, and that closed a few years back. And again, I think maybe they just got stagnant and never innovated. Kept thinking that it was still the 1990s. I actually, when I was 3 years old, I actually worked at Poli's as a busboy and then a bar back. Now there, frankly, what happened was that it was being run by the third generation of the family.
And they were phoning it in. They were phoning it in.
Were phoning it in.
And I've been there a few times, and the food was okay. It was nothing to write home about, and it was you could tell it was tired, it was old, and no one had. But that's what their clientele, which were mostly old people, right? They like that. You like the sameness.
And I remember the maitre d' and also the floor manager they had, and they both commented on that, saying that the owners, which were two brothers at the time, who were there may have been more family members, but the two brothers were actively the ones that were running it. There.
Mm-hmm.
That they liked it when there were, funerals and wakes, and they booked the banquet hall upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And the old guard waitresses liked it because they made good money. But I remember, like I said, the maitre d' and the manager just said, well, don't they realize, that's another one of our customers.
Yeah, those are the customers dropping dead, right?
Swiftly, and they were doing nothing. They were trying to, and the manager in particular was trying to convince them to do more advertising, to update the decor a bit, and they were just coasting. The two brothers were just coasting. One in particular was just damn lazy.
But that's often a third generation problem. Everybody knows the arcs of successful family businesses. The third generation, phones it in usually.
The older brother was pretty well involved, but I mean, it was still, he just treated it like a job, not like it was his family legacy. Mm-hmm. And then the younger brother, who was actually, he technically managed the bar and banquet hall, and he was just lazy.
I got a feeling that, in these instances, the family, these would be then grandchildren of the founders.
Yes.
It's something that's always been there. They think it's never going away. They know nothing but the success. So, it must come as a real shocker when they realize that a place is going down. But there's whatever.
I thought it was going to be replaced. I thought they were selling out to Mandalay Bay, but that ended up never coming in.
No,
I mean, I think that's still. I haven't lived in Pittsburgh. Near the Pittsburgh area for the past 3 years, but I think that space is just still abandoned, is it not?
No, it's been replaced by a bigger. I don't know what it is. I guess it's offices and apartment. I don't know what the hell it is, but it's been replaced.
Gillespie's I miss. I mean, they had nice food, really good desserts. Although they didn't make a lot of the desserts they bought from elsewhere. But, they were still doing the garlic festival, for the, umpteenth year in a row. And I'm like, guys, this is a little played out. You need to change things up just a bit.
Well,
but they didn't, and they went under.
Time marches on. Hey, time marches on. I got to go, too.
Time marches on. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye. Two little items before we go. I came across this in the publication The Week, which by the time I get it, I know almost everything in there because I, pay attention throughout the week, and I don't need this aggregate, this compilation. But every once in a while, things get slipped in that I don't know. And this one and it's so funny, I almost forgot about him. Remember Michael Bloomberg? Remember Michael Bloomberg going after the Democratic nomination and throwing his extraordinary wealth at it and doing it unlike anybody else, figuring his money could buy anything, and then, again, the misfortune of showing up at one of the debates it says here that now that all the reports are in on the final costs of his campaign, he put $1.22 billion into that campaign. And that is more, just so you get it, okay, over $1 billion into his short-lived campaign. That is more money than the combined campaign spending of every other Democratic candidate at the combined. Take every other Democrat that even tried for it, throw all their money together, and it's nowhere close to $1.22 billion. And it is more than the National Rifle Association, which is a group he goes gunning for, is more than the NRA has spent on lobbying in its entire existence. Whoa. And you know what? He ain't going to miss it. It's not like, oh, I'll have to pull back a little bit. I guess can't take that vacation. Can't buy that painting. No, he won't even miss it. So, Keith writes, have you seen the TV commercials for Trumpy Bear? No. A stuffed animal with cufflinks and a comb over. I can't believe I didn't send this to you. Oh, you have a picture of it. I thought it was a spoof. And of course, these things that you think are spoofs are not anymore, which is why the Onion shouldn't exist. God, these people are morons, says Keith. My only hope is the Trumpy Bear's creator is a liberal who's trolling all these people and donating the profits to the Biden campaign. Well, that'd be good. Oh, I see it. Here's Own a Piece of History. The Trumpy Bear. It's just 19. It's not just 19. It's 1992. It's what? Oh, God. Show your patriotism with the new Trumpy Bear. And yeah, it comes with its hair so you can comb it over, and includes a certificate of authentication with, it looks like, the president's signature. Is that possible? It can't be possible that he would have signed that. Okay. Oh, it comes with a blanket. He has a zippered neck where the blanket is stored. Okay. Well, I won't be getting that anytime soon. The Trumpy Bear. Wonderful. Jesus H. Okay. Hang on. Listen. Close. Yep. And here is the new numbers. By the way, when you see these, these numbers now, we know they're ridiculous. California is now saying it appears they have a lot more cases and deaths than they knew. Everybody has. And what about we find out that the state of Florida is now not allowing its medical examiners, its coroners, to release numbers to say that somebody, obviously this person's dead as a result of coronavirus. They also won't, Florida, if you're somebody who has a home in Pittsburgh, but you winter in Florida, you have a home there too. If you die in Florida, but you count Pittsburgh as your main Florida will not count you as a death that happened in their state. And Pennsylvania ain't going to, I don't think. You didn't die here. So the undercounts, and this is an effort, obviously, of Florida to keep numbers down and to also screw up the numbers. So anyway, here are the latest numbers we're being given by the Allegheny County Health Department. And come on, 1,289 cases, 94 deaths. So that's the latest, and those numbers are baloney. I mean, really, I think. In a time like this where you can't trust any of the information you're getting. Hey, okay, I'm leaving you with one thing, and that's this, also from the week. Professional gamblers in Nevada are applying for pandemic-related unemployment benefits. Well, sure, if you're a professional gambler and you can't gamble, your place of business has been put down. I can see why you'd consider yourself unemployed. The closing of casinos, the suspension of college and major league sports has left gamblers without income. So they're applying under provisions that cover the self-employed. And here's one guy who's quoted as saying, I'm going to give it a shot. Worst case, they say no. Sounds like a gambler, doesn't he? Well, let's give it a shot. Can't hurt to try. But in some respects, I mean, I do know somebody from here whose father and brother are both professional gamblers in Las Vegas. That is, in fact, how they make a living, and they do. So that is technically they're self-employed in a legal business. I don't know. I think the gamblers have a point, frankly, because there are people, yes, because I know of two who do make a living, and it is their profession of gambling. I'm just saying. Now, the thing I spared us all is more conversation about Biden's accuser, Tara Reade, because this ain't going to go away. It's something that has to be dealt with, and it's uncomfortable for our side. So I came upon a really good piece, and granted, this is our side would like, but it is by, it was in USA Today, and it is a former prosecutor who runs you through why he thinks she's lying. And it's somebody who has, prosecuted people for this, for rape and sexual assaults, and has default is to always believe the woman. But he said at some point you gotta, and it takes some time because the fact is that two more people have now come forward who say that she told them. There's something about the time here and how this is happening in the timeline that does make it suspicious. I don't have time to run it by you, but I think at some point Biden has to say something, doesn't he? I mean, I don't know. It seems so totally out of character for him. Not unwanted touching. We all know that's what he does. And we all know people like that. And it's just the way things were. And now, with, placing hands on shoulders and this and that. And who hasn't had a boss that did that? Serious, if you're a woman. I mean, really. Whatever. I see that. But Joe Biden slamming a woman up against a wall and penetrating her with his fingers, This is in the Capitol building, in a hallway. Personally, my sense of him, and I trust my sense of him, it just seems ridiculous. I'm sorry. Stealing a kiss doesn't necessarily. Penetrating with his fingers in a Capitol building semi-public hallway in the middle of the day, I'm sorry. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Just saying. Okay, well, I guess that's it. And I still haven't, I'm going to keep that article, and as things heat up, maybe walk you through this guy's timeline, because it's really pretty good, I think, in terms of an argument why a open-minded person can take it all in and say, nah, this just doesn't hold water. It just doesn't hold water. So there's that. Okay, guys, that's it for me on this dreary day. And I'll be back on Monday. Who knows what the hell will happen in the interim? But that's what I always say. And Blue, he's brought his little blue ball, and he wants me to throw. You know what? I've been throwing this ball. It bounces strangely all over the place. I knocked out myself, took out this beautiful ceramic art piece. It's shattered. That was the other day. And yesterday, throwing it, it almost took out this gorgeous glass vase I have. And I'm thinking, if anyone else, if my kid, can you imagine my kid throwing a ball around in the living room, wiping out priceless pieces of art that were gifts, I'd kill him. But as it is, Blue just left me the ball, and I'm going to throw it again. There, whoa! All right, that's it. Okay, guys, I'm done. I got to go play with the dog. Have a good weekend.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.